welcome to another episode of Get to Know, something special we're doing with our Calvary students. And for this specific interview, I have with me Sydney Elliott. Sydney, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
All right. Hi, I'm Sydney Elliott. I am 16 years old, and I'm a sophomore, and I am homeschooled.
Sophomore and homeschooled. And it seems as though a large number – wait, let's stop. Let me pause for a minute. Are you homeschooled because right now everybody's homeschooled, or are you really homeschooled?
I am really homeschooled.
All right. And how do you enjoy being homeschooled?
I'm a very social person, so I don't really like it, but I've done it my whole life, so I don't really know anything different. So
Gotcha. Very, very social. I would attest to that. So, where do you get your social interactions then, if you don't get it from school?
I still do sports at a public school, like right down the road, and church.
Okay. What school do you do sports at, and what sports are you involved in at that school?
So I did at the Hillsdale High School, and I do soccer, basketball, and track.
So a triathlete, if you will, 3 sports.
Yep.
Of those 3, what's your favorite?
Basketball.
Basketball. Does that have anything to do with your coach?
No.
For those who have no idea, would you explain who your coach is?
My coach is my dear father.
Yeah. So if he's watching this and you don't say basketball, you're probably going to be in trouble. So good for you for saying basketball. How long have you been playing basketball?
I started basketball when I was in 3rd grade.
And you're a sophomore now, so do the math. How long has that been?
That would be 8 years.
There you go. I had you do the math. I know, school and all of those things. So 8 years for basketball. What about soccer? How long have you done soccer?
Soccer, I've done it my freshman year and sophomore year, but I think I'm going to stop that just so I can focus more on basketball because I'm not as into it, but
Okay.
yeah.
So 2 seasons of soccer, 8 years with basketball. Let's go. Let me ask on both of those sports. What is your position that you play for both of those?
For basketball, I'm more known as like a guard or like a point guard. And then for soccer, I was always on defense.
Okay. All right. There you go. And then the third one you said was track.
Yep.
Now, things are a little different with everything going on right now,
Yep.
but in preparation for track, what were you preparing to run?
I usually do the 100-meter sprint, the 4x100-meter relay, long jump, and then he usually puts me in like the relay for the 200, or I just sprint the 200. It just depends.
So a lot of events when it comes to track. Have you done track before? How long have you done track?
I've done track since 7th grade, so this year would have been 4 years.
Okay. All right. And what is your greatest, let me say, your greatest PR, your greatest personal record that you have when it comes to anything track?
Anything track? Probably last year at long jump, I got a PR of 15 feet, 1 inch and a half, I think. And that was my best by far.
And to put in retrospect for people who are watching, that's pretty long. You said 15 feet?
Yeah.
How tall are you approximately?
Probably like 5'4"-ish. Well, probably, somewhere around there.
So you jumped nearly 3 times the distance than you are tall.
Yeah.
Just to put it in perspective. All right, so those are all good things. Well, so school, sports, being homeschooled, sports is one way that you get your social interaction. The other way you said was church. How long have you been attending Calvary Baptist Church?
want to say my whole life, but we moved for 3 years, so basically 13 years.
So 13 years, having moved a little bit. Where did you move to?
Me and my family moved to Colorado for 3 years.
Colorado. What was
Yeah,
that like? Was that far different than living in Ashland, Ohio?
it's definitely different.
Colder. What was the weather? Nicer? How was that?
Um, there's like no humidity there, I want to say. Like the air was like lighter. I don't know how to explain it. And then it snowed like randomly, but then the next day it'd be like gone. And the sun was always shining, which was awesome.
All right, that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
you've been at Calvary for 13 years. You went to Colorado for 3 years. Why did you go to Colorado?
We went to Colorado to help start up a church there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been to Calvary, and then obviously in helping start up a church, you've seen what that was like. How is it different, in your words, from coming to an established church and attending a church that's just getting started up? What are some of the differences that you've experienced in that?
There's definitely not as many people, and you have to work harder to get people to come. And I was only about like 5 to 8 when I was there, so I don't remember a whole lot. But like I was sometimes the only kid in my like Sunday school class with one of the leaders, and so it was just like different. And yeah, there just wasn't as many people. The preaching I don't remember as much because like I didn't pay attention. But I think everything was about the same because like we had hymns and stuff. It wasn't like anything fancy. It was like a keyboard for instead of like a grand piano, and it's just everything's small. And it
Okay.
started in sorry, and it started in a school, and they're actually still there. They just bought property, and so every Sunday our family would help the pastor set up everything. So we just set up all the chairs and like get the nursery ready and everything. So
That's a
yeah,
good bit different than coming to an
yeah,
established church. So you would have to go every morning. You're talking on Sunday mornings, you'd have to go set up chairs and
mm-hmm.
makeshift classrooms and things.
Yeah,
And you didn't know how many people to prepare for because it's a new church. So like you said, for your own class, sometimes there's only one, but you had to set
mm-hmm.
that up for more than one person, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, for my class is like we just kind of went to like a couch, and she had like those old like felt things you'd put on like the boards. I think that's what they're called. But
Hmm.
yeah, it was interesting. And then
So
on Wednesdays we would just go to a house instead of like anywhere. We just go to one of the members' house, and the kids would play in the basement and have our own little class. It was fun though.
wow. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, that's totally, totally different than obviously some of the things you're experiencing now here at Calvary. But it sounds like overall it was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah.
Having been a part of Calvary for so long and seeing the different parts of our ministries, what would you say is your favorite part about our church?
Favorite part? Probably I know I love the like the kids part and like the youth. Just like the kids, I guess, combined with the youth. That's my favorite because I'm part of it. So
Yeah, that's a good answer then. I mean, youth group's probably my favorite part, but I'm biased. I'm the youth pastor, so. Um, but you're mentioning kids and youth, and so I'm gonna go for just a moment. Um, I know you got to spend some time as part of our Awana ministry and in our Awana clubs on Wednesday nights. And so looking to that a little bit, did you enjoy your time in Awana? Was it with Awana? I know there's a lot of verse memorization. Was that hard for you? Was that a lot of work for you? Did you just overall, did you enjoy Awana?
overall, I'd say I did. Verse memorization wasn't always like my thing. My goal was always just to complete the book. I had some friends who were like just amazing and went to all the review books and everything, but that wasn't always me. But overall, I enjoyed it. Game time was fun. I got competitive with that, so
Everybody loves game time. Here's a bit of a hard question, and you may not know the answer, and just thinking about it right now. So with Awana, there's a lot of verses you have to memorize. What would you say for you personally would be the retention? How many of those verses that you had to quote could you still quote today if you had to?
Hmm, probably not a whole lot.
Yeah,
Probably just like probably just like the main ones, like John 3:16 and like Romans and stuff like that.
I know those ones too, so it's okay. And I'm putting you on the spot with that question, but there's a lot of verses. I know, and it's different
Mhm.
now. Awana has changed now than it used to, at least for our church, in that for the most part, it's a verse a week. Where I think back to it, kind of when you were in Awana, it was say as many verses as you want to
Mhm.
this week and see what happens. And it's kind of slowed down a little bit, in part because of that. There wasn't a whole lot of retention happening. It was just let's see how many awards I can win and
Yeah.
say these verses. So I understand. What about, we talked a lot about sports. Outside of sports, do you have any other hobbies that you like to do?
Um, Not really. I can't really think of any.
Sports.
Honestly, like, yeah.
Sports are the big one. What about parallel with hobbies? What about any hidden talents? Do you have any hidden talents?
Um, I guess like I'm decent at doing like girls' hair. I don't know, like braiding, I guess.
Which would explain why every time we go to
Um,
camp, you sit in the back of the bus and braid other girls' hair. Fun fact about Sydney right there. Another fun fact about Sydney is that when it comes to our church and being involved in ministries, above all else, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but it seems to be, from the youth pastor's perspective, um, one of your favorite ministries is working with kids, and that's something that
mhm.
you seem to really like. Do you have an age group that you like to work with more than another age group?
I love like for junior church, I love like the fifth, sixth grade, like just like the older ones. Like they're like my favorite age group to like talk to and stuff because they like I don't know how to explain it, but I just love talking to them because their minds are like shifting. It's just fun because I remember when I was that age and they're fun to be with. So
Overall, I mean, do you just like working with kids? Are you drawn into that? Do you think that would be something you'd want to do long term with your life?
definitely. I ever since I was little, I always loved like pretending to teach like in a school. And now that I'm older and I see like the younger kids, like I want to be like a middle school teacher and do like seventh, eighth, like fifth, sixth, like the middle school age. 'Cause they're just so much fun and I love dealing with them. So that's my plans for my future.
Good. All right. So we're looking at graduating high school and then probably, if wanting to be a teacher, I'm sure you're looking at college. Do you have any idea right now of where you may attend college?
I'm not sure. Me and my dad's been talking about it, and I almost kind of want to try to work hard enough to see if I can play basketball anywhere. But if that's not an option, then my first look would probably be Pensacola. It just all depends how everything goes, I guess.
Gotcha. Good. Okay. So possibly Pensacola. Lots of people have said they are eyeballing Pensacola. I think everybody just wants out of Ohio, is what I'm gathering. Well, good. All right. So that's what you're looking for your future, potentially teaching. And now you said potentially playing basketball. Do you have any schools in mind where you'd love to get in and potentially play basketball?
Um, Not really, but we do like a basketball camp and we go to Shawnee State, and that's like on the border of Pennsylvania and Ohio, I think. And their school's pretty cool. I haven't really visited the school, but I know their basketball program's getting better. So that'd be maybe one, but I don't really know, to be specific.
That's the location of the school. I mean, are you well aware? Really good things come out of Pennsylvania, just so you know. So you know. Here's a hard question. You got to give a little bit of thought to, okay? What
Okay.
lesson, I'm going to read this one. What lesson do you wish you would have learned earlier in life?
Lesson.
What lesson do you wish you would have learned earlier in life?
I mean, kind of. Probably that people are always watching you, and like people can know a lot about you by just seeing how you act.
Hmm.
That's probably one I have to say.
It's a good one. I think I've heard that said once or twice in church. That's pretty good. People are always watching. To learn that earlier. How about your salvation? I'm going to ask, are you saved? Do you know Christ is your Savior?
Yes, I am.
All right. And so tell us a little bit about that story, when that was in your life, and how that came to pass.
So I was 5, and I'm pretty sure it's very blurry to me, but I was 5, and I think it was after a Sunday night service, and we were back at our house, and my mom and dad took me in our bedroom, and they kept asking me, "Why do you want to get saved?" And I just sat there and I was like, "Because." And they kept asking me, and I just kept saying, "Because," or like, "Because I want to." And so that's all I remember, but I know we did say a prayer, and then I got baptized, and then I'd say about I was probably 7th or 8th grade. We went to the Buckeye Harvest Rally, and there was a preacher. It was the last pretty sure it was like the last preacher, and he talked really fast. And I remember him, and he was just it was so powerful. And he said, if you don't know 100% sure, and I'm a person who I get like shivers in me, and like if I know, like I feel like the Holy Spirit, that's how he talks to me. And so like I just like was going crazy inside. And so he said, "Look at me if you know, like if you don't know him, like 100%." And so I looked at him, and then we walked out, and I was kind of scared because like I've grown up in church my whole life. I'm like, what is people gonna think of me when I come back? But it was fine. And so I'm glad I did that, 'cause just a reassurance that I am saved and I don't have to be scared to die anymore, because I know I'm going to heaven. So that was a big point in my like spiritual life, and that so now every time I know for sure I'm saved, and so I can say for 100% that I'm going to heaven.
That's good. And I thank you for sharing that story. Again, there has been somewhat of a reoccurring theme where when people come to church their whole lives, at an early age, they may place their faith in Christ and experience salvation. And as they grow older, they may have some doubts or some questions. And so they go to what we call and have come to call reassurance of salvation. And so to that, you alluded to this, a lot of times there's a fear of, what are people going to think? Am I going to let people down? So here's the question I have for you. And I get the fear. I'm not downplaying that fear at all. Like, that's a question. What are people going to think? Are people going to talk about this? Have you ever heard of any situation where somebody was getting reassurance of their salvation and getting things right in their life? Have you ever actually heard of an instance where people were criticized for doing that?
I don't think so.
Just check in. Neither have I, but I want people who are watching, I want them to hear it from you, another teenager, just in the event that they're struggling with that and they're thinking the same thing you were thinking. What are people going to think? Are they going to judge me? Are they going to criticize me? I personally have never heard of the criticism. In fact, it's typically the opposite, where people celebrate and people rejoice. And I'm glad you got that settled in your heart. And I'm glad you got that settled in your life. And was that Was that what you experienced?
Definitely, yeah.
I expected so. So good. All right. Well, what about some of your favorites when it comes to the Bible? Do you have a favorite Bible story?
My favorite Bible story is Daniel in the lion's den. That's always been one of my favorites.
Just because, or do you have a deep rooted reason to why that's your favorite?
Just how he like trusted God, like even though people are saying you can't like pray and stuff, he still just went through and just seeing how God like just what's the word? Um just the situation, how God just planned out everything, and I mean he got to sleep with lions, like that's cool. So I mean just how everything planned out, and it was just his faith.
Good. That's cool. You mentioned earlier there was a specific preacher, obviously, when you were at the Harvest Rally and got saved. Thinking through of all the people you have heard through the years, do you have a favorite preacher that you like to listen to?
Um
Beyond me, of course.
I think Jim Shetler. He's very funny. I like listening to him. And then one year at Wilds, I think it's Skelly. I think the one with like the funny story of Ruth, and yeah, is that who it was? It
Yeah.
was at the Wilds. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him too.
All right. They're both good. Those are both two
Mhm.
of my favorites as well. All right, here we go. Let's go to some overall favorites. Are you ready?
All right.
Favorite color?
Favorite colors probably white and blue. I like blue too.
A specific blue or just blue?
Like a navy blue, kind of the color of my room.
Okay,
Blue.
that makes sense why it's blue. Um,
Yeah.
favorite food?
Oh, like dessert or like food?
Food, like a meal.
Food. Oof. I love mashed potatoes. Those are good. I like steak too.
Cool steak. How do you eat your steak?
My dad does it. I have no idea.
Okay.
He grills it. I don't know.
Do you like it with pink in the middle or no pink at all? A little bit of pink.
No pink. It's usually just like brown, like the color the meat's supposed to be.
That's called well done, just so you know.
Not burnt. I don't like burnt. It's like I don't know how to explain it.
Medium well done. We got you. I understand. You're
Probably
making
like yeah,
total
around there.
sense to me. All right. Which doesn't happen very often, Sid. I got to be honest. Let's see. What if oh, do you have a favorite candy bar?
Ooh, this one's hard. Um, Probably I like Kit Kats. Kit Kats are good.
All right. All right.
I wish the commercial didn't lie about them, but it's fine.
What
They're
do you
good.
mean? Why is it?
It doesn't make the crunchy sound. I've tried it multiple times.
I,
It doesn't work.
have you ever frozen one?
I don't think so.
Frozen Canadian Kit Kats are the best candy bar in the world.
Huh.
I've said it before in another episode, but if you haven't ever tried it, that's what you got to go for.
What's the difference of a Canadian one?
The chocolate is way better, and the wafer, it's just different. The wafer is different on the inside.
Huh.
I gotta one day when I make a trip up, or maybe when somebody comes and makes, I'll request or bring enough for the whole youth group because
Yes.
it's that important. It will change your life. All right, think with me for just a moment that it is lunchtime and you're going to make yourself a sandwich for lunch.
Okay.
Are you going to go with peanut butter and jelly or ham and cheese?
Well, I don't like ham, so peanut butter and jelly.
What kind or what flavor of jelly are you going with?
It's gotta be grape.
Grape. No, not strawberry, not raspberry, not blackberry, just grape.
Yep.
All right. And is there a specific peanut butter that we're using on this? Like we going Jif, we going Kraft?
We just get the Jif. So
Jif. All right. That's all that's in the kitchen. That's what it's going to be.
yep,
Pepsi or Coke?
Pepsi,
Pop or soda?
pop.
I'm just checking. It should be. Oh, here's one. Here's one. Crick or creek? Like you
I
have
think I
this
think
little body
yeah.
of water that goes through.
I think I say creek.
Creek. All right.
Creek. Yeah, I think.
So if a door squeaks, does that have a
Uh-huh.
crick or a creek?
It's creek.
All right. So there's a creek in the backyard and a creek in the door.
Yeah.
All right. Just checking. Everybody has their own preference of what they say on these things.
All right.
Where would you choose to go if you had your choice of a dream vacation?
Ooh. I've seen pictures. I haven't really researched into it, but I hear like Bora Bora is nice.
Bora Bora. All right. Just because the
I
pictures are
hear
pulling
that.
you in.
I feel like I just heard people talk about that.
All right. Well, there you go.
So,
Why not go? Well, I appreciate you taking time to do this interview here today, and I'm sure those watching have enjoyed as well, getting to know you just a little bit better. But don't let it stop here. Beyond this interview, if you are a part of Calvary Students, get to know Sydney a little bit better. Sydney, before we go, I want to say to you, do you have any little piece of information or final words of wisdom that you would like to give to those watching?
just be a light for God, I guess.
There it is. Very good. I've got to be honest with you, and now that I'm gonna say this publicly on this channel, I think this is the first interview. I think I got to go back and look where somebody said something spiritual at the end. High five. Boom. There it is. All right. Now everybody's going to do it just to try to be on my good side. But you were the first. I think. I'll have to go back and double check. But thank you so much for doing this interview. Again, those watching, thanks for joining us. And tune in the next episode we have of Get to Know, a series we're doing here at Calvary Students.